Can we get me another water when we get time?
You want water?
You might end up needing yours.
No, I don't need it. Go ahead, man. It's okay.
Oh, so you can't do that. That's cheating.
How is it cheating? How's it cheating, man?
Got a
How?
20? Got a 20? No,
Yeah. You want a 20?
no, I don't.
You want a 20? It's right here, bud. You asked for it.
No, see, it's cheating.
There's the 20.
No. I'll donate this to the church then that put this together.
Good. Not West Barrel Baptist, okay?
Sure, I'm thrilled to hear
Right.
that atheists are now a majority in New England, because evidently it's not popular to believe in God in New England, although I thought they were still over at least 50% theists in New England. And yeah, it's interesting. The question was about, do people kind of superimpose their own ideas onto God? And yes, in fact, we've done testing, and we know this is the case, because there are different portions of the brain that are about, I think this, and someone else thinks this. And curiously, when asked what God thinks, the part that lights up for I think this is the part that lights up, not the part for someone else thinks this. But, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to just be nice to Cliff, if you imply that Hitler was an atheist who gassed Jews because they're lower on the evolutionary ladder, you have just committed a despicable act, because Hitler professed to be, in public and private, atheist, a Christian, supported by the Catholic Church. The Nazis ran around with Gott mit uns on their belt buckles, which is God with us, and evolution was banned in Germany. The teaching of evolution was banned. You don't get to lay this at the feet of science, and you don't get to claim that a monster, just because he doesn't happen to believe in God the same way you did, was anything at all like an atheist or a secular humanist or anything along those lines. It's just flatly false. Cliff and I completely agree. Follow the evidence wherever it leads. And yet, curiously, no sooner had he said follow the evidence where it leads, what did he say? And if you find yourself hungering for an afterlife, that's not following the evidence. That's following your desires. If you find evidence for an afterlife, by all means. But if you find yourself hungering for an afterlife, maybe what you're hungering for isn't real. Where's the evidence for it? I followed the evidence where it led. Turned out, my desire to fulfill 1 Peter 3:15 and be the best representative of Christ I could be clearly led me to here. It's all part of God's plan, right? We know that people project their own thoughts onto what they think God thinks. What Cliff would probably have us believe, this is unfair, I don't want to put words in his mouth. What many theists would have us believe is that they're not doing that. Other people are, they're not. Not the true Christians. They don't do that. How do you know? How do you prove this? Well, by their fruits you'll know them. Okay. Look, Matt even agrees with Jesus. I agree with Jesus when he was right. You want to find out the truth, go to ironchariots.org. I've got an entire verse-by-verse deconstruction of the Sermon on the Mount because I got tired of even some atheists saying, oh, this is the greatest and most wise thing anybody's ever said. No, it's not. There's some good advice in there. There's some bad advice in there, and there's some horrible advice in there. There's stuff in there that turns people into victims, and it is polluting conversations. Because there are some people who, I imagine people would point to and say, oh, they're not true Christians, but they are completely, excuse my language, assholes about their faith, and when somebody calls them out on it, you'll be persecuted in his name, so clearly I must be doing it right because you're persecuting me. No, maybe you're just an ass. Maybe. And maybe you're not. How do we know? Follow the evidence. What's the evidence? Tell us about this. I have yet to find any evidence that's convincing. And these are not trivial claims. That somebody was a god, lived, died, rose from the dead, saved the world, drove people out of a temple. I mean, that might be a trivial thing. We need evidence. Follow it. Read, study. I didn't get here by accident, no matter how Cliff wants to straw man my comments.
Next question's coming to us from Austin, Texas. So, Matt, we'll start with you. What do you both think or believe will happen after you die?
I imagine my wife will get married to somebody else, and no, actually, she's going to run off with a friend of hers and have a whole bunch of cats. Oh, you mean what's going to happen to me? I don't know. I don't see any reason to think that anything's going to happen to me. Everything that makes me me, everything that we have historically and religiously attributed to a soul that can be identified with a place has a place in the brain. My personality is in my brain. We know from experiments on people who have suffered all sorts of brain damage that you can reset people's personality, their preference, their memories, their ability to make new memories. I'm going to get the name wrong. Vishwanathan, no. Somebody will know. Anyway, did a talk at one of the religion summits about a split brain patient, hemispherectomy. They can communicate with both halves, and each half has a separate personality and a separate identity and communicates independently. One half, Christian. The other half, atheist. Now, I guess you could argue that when we split that brain in half, there was only enough soul for one side, and the other side just got, shafted. But everything we know about what makes us us, our likes, our preferences, our desires, they're all a product of the brain. Now, a lot of theists would say that there's a soul behind it all, as a puppet master, the ghost in the machine. And yet there's no evidence to support this. And it doesn't make sense in the model. If I suffer severe brain damage and all of a sudden I don't remember the past, I don't remember that I love my wife, I don't like the same foods, I don't want to interact with the same people, and now all of a sudden I believe in God, am I the same person? I don't think so. Haven't we really kind of ended up with a whole new person?